The concept of a harmonized sales tax has been met with consumer disapproval in other provinces and also right here in Saskatchewan. And even though here at home we don't pay HST, other provinces such as Ontario and British Columbia have recently introduced the new tax. And this is starting to affect businesses and consumers in Saskatchewan.
Most Saskatchewan people don't know it, but to the extent that they purchase supplies, taxable supplies from either Ontario or British Columbia, or they sell either supplies, services, or doing work in Ontario or British Columbia, they will have to either collect, remit, or claim back HST. Otherwise, it becomes an additional cost of doing business and it makes it more expensive.
Saskatchewan businesses would have to recover these costs by submitting them to the Canadian Revenue Agency. And as this tax is relatively new for all provinces, it will take time for the business community to standardize how the tax is charged and recovered through transactions. And although there is no indication to suggest Saskatchewan will harmonize, political pressures for the decision do exist.
The wording of the legislation is such that I think the federal government would like to see everybody harmonized, and again, the provinces, in particular Manitoba and Saskatchewan, are reluctant to, and that's because they have a pretty decent taxable regime right now.
Jack Vick recently authored a number of tax suggestions to improve the economic climate in the province. And one of these suggestions was to introduce HST in Saskatchewan. Vick expands on why he feels HST would benefit the province.
I think the biggest benefit is that it takes away the tax from business inputs. Now, the downside of that is it shifts a lot of that to consumers. And if it shifts it to consumers, consumers have to kind of trust businesses that eventually they're going to lower prices. And that's the difficulty, that there's not enough trust that businesses will lower their prices.
In other provinces, HST has meant about 17% of goods and services now have a new tax. These include things like going to the hairdressers and an additional tax on legal services. And as more provinces adopt the new tax regime, many experts agree our region will need to keep a close eye on these results.
I think there has to be, in Saskatchewan, over the next number of years, open debate and discussion about the benefits and the difficulties of an HST, and to look at provinces, maritime provinces together, and eventually Ontario, where this has happened, and to see what in fact does happen.
And although there isn't a provincial political appetite for the tax in Saskatchewan, the debate continues over the benefits and drawbacks of HST. For Southwest TV News, I'm Kara Repke.